The Plastic Soldier Company are branching out into the Cold War, and this is their 15mm Leopard I main battle tank plastic box set. The box says the kit contains 5 Leopard I tanks and can build into the Leopard I A3, A4 variants or the Canadian C1. These are the angled turreted versions rather than the curved cast turret shape. If we look at the back of the box, there are some Vallejo paint instructions and 2 views of the Leopard I in the NATO 3-colour camouflage scheme. It suggests Vallejo 967 olive green for the base colour, with 825 German camo pale brown and 862 black grey for the other colours. Tracks and the MG3 machine gun are suggested to be 863 gunmetal. Let's have a look in the box. There are 5 sprues of medium grey plastic and 1 instruction sheet. Typically for PSC, one side is a shot of the sprue parts and the variants, while the other is step-by-step instructions. The instructions are pretty simple and clear, but I'll talk about the assembly sequence a bit later. Here's the plastic. Each Leopard comes on a single sprue and there are 5 of these in the box. Detail looks nice and sharp and is well defined. The tracks and side skirts are moulded together. Each track part is 2 pieces, an outer and inner section. These need a bit of clean-up to make a tight fit, but a few swipes of the emery board sorted this out. The join seam runs up the middle of the track, but is hidden by the track pattern. Just below these you can see the hull sides, which come as separate pieces. There's good tool detail here. Next is the upper hull glacis plate and crew. Engine deck detail here is strong with lots of hatches and vents. They're similar. One has the track grousers mounted on, a common stowage feature for Leopards. There are 3 crew, a commander, loader and driver. You can also see the driver's hatch piece. This was missing from the initial batch but has been added onto the frame here. Here's the lower hull, hull rear and turret rear. Plenty of good detail here. This section also has the MG3 machine gun that's mounted on the loader's hatch. Lastly are the turret pieces. There's good strong detail here. It's a multi-part turret design with the upper, lower, rear and front sections separate. This needs a bit of fine-tuning during assembly but will go together without any gaps with a bit of care. The 105mm gun and mantlet is a single piece. This fits snugly into the front of the turret. It does mean you can't angle the gun in elevation, but it makes a good strong join here. I like it. There is a mould line running down each side of the gun that needs careful trimming to remove without damaging the thermal sleeve detail. There are open and closed versions of both the commander's and loader's hatches. Another nice touch. The boxy part here is an optional searchlight, while the rounded box is a laser rangefinder for the Canadian C1. Overall, this kit looks great. Detail is strong and plentiful. There's a tiny bit of flash on some parts like the hatches, a bit strange for a new tool, but nothing a hobby knife or emery board can't quickly clean up. This is an in-box review, so I'm not going to do a step-by-step build. Here's the assembled Leopard I. Generally it went together well. There are only a few minor assembly issues, certainly nothing major like the hull fit for the T55 kit. I thought some parts could have used more locating pins. For example, the first step in the instructions is to attach the upper and lower hull pieces. But without proper locating tabs here it could be easy to be a bit off, creating alignment problems later. In fact, it was better to build the tracks and attach those, as well as the hull side panels on the upper hull, then gluing these together and adding the back hull plate and glacis piece at the same time. Have all these parts trimmed up and ready to go and you can fine-tune the arrangement before the glue dries. Otherwise, assembly is straightforward and quick. The Leopard I was developed in the late 1950s to replace the American M47 and M48 tanks then in German service. Thinking at the time was that heat warheads would easily defeat conventional armour, so the design focused on mobility and firepower. The initial prototypes had the British L7 105mm gun mounted in a rounded cast turret. After testing in a second round of prototypes, a design from Porsche was selected. It entered production in 1964, with the first examples delivered in 1965. The design continued to be modified and developed, being built in batches. The Leopard 1A1 introduced a gun stabilisation system and side skirts, and the 1A2 had increased turret armour. A new welded turret design was used for the Leopard 1A3 and A4 batches. This armour used spaced sheets of steel with a plastic filler, giving better protection than the cast turrets but also increasing internal volume, giving the crew more room. The A4 also introduced a computerised fire control system and an upgraded sight for increased accuracy. In the 1980s, the Leopard 1A5 standard upgraded outdated 1A1 models with new sights and fire control. The turret was also modified to potentially accept the new 120mm Rheinmetall gun, although this option was never built. Introduction of improved ammunition for the 105mm gun kept this older system effective. NATO allies and many other nations adopted the Leopard I, including Canada, Australia, Holland, Belgium, Denmark, Norway, Greece, Italy and Turkey. Initially the role of the Leopard was as a main battle tank, but later as the Leopard II took over this role for many NATO countries, the Leopard I's mobility made it ideal for reconnaissance. Canada modified their C1s, basically Leopard 1A3s, to C2 standard with upgraded fire control and add-on armour. The Leopard hull was also used for bridge layers, recovery vehicles, and as the basis for the Flak Panzer Gepard self-propelled AA system. The Gepard mounted twin 35mm cannons and a search radar, and provided local area air defence. Germany phased out the Leopard I in 2003, and many other countries have followed suit, many replacing them with the Leopard II. So that's the Plastic Soldier Company's Leopard I kit. I really enjoyed building it, and it's great to see PSC continuing to expand their Cold War range. Now the minor issue with the driver's hatch is sorted, this is a quick and simple build. I expect a lot of wargamers playing West Germans, or those looking to play Canadians, Australians or smaller NATO nations, will be delighted with this excellent plastic kit. Thanks to the Plastic Soldier Company for supplying this review kit.